So, as you know, the Day of Freedom took place last week, and I have to say, I wasn't expecting this to come from this source. Now, this is from an RT article, that's Russia Today. So, even when Russia Today are like, yeah, okay, we're not going to support these guys, you know you're doing something wrong. So, it's entitled, Are Milo Yiannopoulos, Tommy Robinson and Sargon of Akkad Hypocrites? So, the Day of Freedom rally in London on Saturday brought protesters and prominent right-wing commentators and political figures together under the banner of free speech. RT looks at some of the leading agitators. Billed as a protest against what organisers see as the subversion of free speech that has infiltrated British society in recent years, the Day of Freedom marches from Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park to Whitehall to encompass groups such as the Football Lads Alliance and Veterans Against Terrorism, alongside social media provocateurs such as Milo Yiannopoulos, Tommy Robinson and Sargon of Akkad. The day, however, did not pass without controversy. Over Ali Dalwa, a YouTuber and co-founder of the Muslim Youth Movement channel, Dalwa was due to speak at the rally, but was allegedly blocked from speaking before being attacked by who he described as Nazi thugs, and the scenes were captured on camera and were tweeted by him. And yeah, good move on, freedom of speech, guys. And I still say today that was highly suspicious, because you look at the footage, and to begin with, they're not surrounded, no one's bothering them. However, out of nowhere, all these guys just suddenly surround them very, very quickly. And that had to be organised. There had to be someone who said, we need to do that. I suspect it's Tommy Robinson, because I can't see, he's the guy who had most to lose from him being allowed to speak there. Because this massive, as I've said before, the Football Lads Alliance are just another extension of the EDL. So this begs the question, how is preventing a Muslim from speaking at an event called the Day of Freedom in keeping with the spirit of protecting free speech? Where is the anger from the main protagonists? Or are Muslims excluded from the free speech debate? Perhaps the question isn't surprising when you consider the history of some of the day's main speakers. So, starts off with Milo Yiannopoulos. So the former senior editor of Breitbart, avowed anti-feminist, self-described cultural libertarian and alt-right provocateur, has been embroiled in many controversies over recent years. He was permanently banned from Twitter in July of 2016 for initiating the abuse against Ghostbuster actor Leslie Jones, and after the film crashed at the box office. Of Jones, Yiannopoulos tweeted, "If at first you don't succeed because your work is terrible, play the victim. Everyone gets hate mail." Followed by, "Ghostbusters is doing so badly, they've deployed Leslie Jones to play the victim on Twitter. Very sad." Concluding with, "Very literate. America needs better schools," and "rejected by yet another black dude." In 2017, Milo Yiannopoulos was accused of supporting child abuse on an internet livestream, claiming that you can get quite high up on this child abuse thing, and suggesting that younger boys and older men could be a coming-of-age relationship in which the older man helps those younger boys discover who they are. His comments resulted in the American Conservative Union rescinding its invitation to have him speak at the group's annual CPAC conference in 2017. Despite being openly gay and marrying his long-term boyfriend in 2017, Yiannopoulos wrote an article for Breitbart where he insisted that gays should pipe down and get back in the closet because there had been too much mollycoddling of homosexuals in today's society. In 2016, he told Bloomberg that he didn't employ gay people because he didn't trust them. And more recently, he backed Trump's controversial ban on transgender people serving the military, claiming that they are mentally ill. And not only that, I want to add more to that. Creationist Cat did a very good send-up of this whole thing. And he basically showed a video where Milo Yiannopoulos for years has gone on about, oh, they're protesting my events, how dare they shut down my freedom of speech, you know, this is just not right, how could they? Yet here he is speaking at an event, and it's in the Creationist Cat video, so I'd go and, you know, watch that. But you have Milo Yiannopoulos basically saying, I think he was referring to a liberal professor, I want you to go, I want you to boo her, I want you to stop her from speaking. You know, pot calling the kettle black there, Milo. And now we get on to Tommy Robinson. So Tommy Robinson, the former leader and co-founder of the English Defence League, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, took to the stage on Saturday to tell protesters that he was going to take Twitter to court for banning him from their social media website. Since the banning, Robinson has taken to beating the freedom of speech drum. As I told you, what a surprise. But you cannot take Twitter to court because it is their platform. At the end of the day, they have a set of rules. And guess what? If you broke those rules, which they will obviously tell you they did, sad day for you. Twitter may be a public platform, but it is not publicly owned. It is a private company. And as these guys often like to point out, you know, private companies sometimes trumps public feeling, but unless that private company then, you know, affects them, then all of a sudden it's a public issue. So anyway, he continues. This is a quote from him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Twitter to court, he declared on Sunday. I won't get my Twitter account back, but what we'll be able to prove, which needs proving, is that facts are now seen as hate, and that the government is pushing its agenda with private companies. So this is what is what I've constantly said about Tommy Robinson and these people. These are not facts to them. To them, it is a justification of hate and to brand every single Muslim with the same brush. And if you don't believe me, you know, they go on to say in the article this. He famously blamed every single Muslim for getting away with the 7/7 bombings and called Islam a fascist and violent religion in a speech in Tower Hamlets, and as reported by The Guardian in 2013, freedom except for Muslims in the UK. In 2010, Robinson was found guilty of using threatening and abusive or insulting behaviour during a football brawl in Luton, and in August 2011 he was given a 3-year ban from football and a 12-month community rehabilitation order. He is widely condemned for launching a tirade against Muslims and the religion of Islam after the Westminster terrorist attack in 2017, claiming that this is the reality. The reality is that these people are waging war on us, and as reported by The Independent. His attack was seen by many as exploiting the tragedy, and it was. Let's not beat around the bush. Anyway, the quote from him basically continues, far-right figures like Tommy Robinson are vile opportunists, using victims of today's attack to spread their anti-Muslim message, a journalist wrote on Twitter. And there's so much more. I mean, that is but a small smattering of just the stuff Tommy Robinson has said over the years. But the problem is he uses this to basically go, this isn't just like a small section of society. He just goes, no, this is every single Muslim there is in the UK. You know, the time he points a camera down the street and just go, all these people living on this street are enemy combatants. What are you to think about that? I mean, one of the things that no one, I don't think, has talked about in the guy, the Muslim hijab guy filmed, was you had a guy there saying that he was a Christian soldier and he was ready to die for his beliefs. No one bats an eyelid at that. That's fine. I'd be worried about that guy because again, we live in the UK at the moment where last year we had one far right-wing terrorist attack actually carried out by a guy who was constantly listening to the words of Tommy Robinson. So, yeah, take that as you will. And then you had 4 other incidents of far-right terrorism attacks stopped. We know from people who have left Britain First that these guys talk openly about bombing mosques and planning attacks on Muslims. And you've got to look no further than what happened in Rotherham after the abuse scandal came out. Robinson and co. branded the entire Muslim community of Rotherham as being involved and complicit in these actions. They have now taken this whole idea that every single Muslim male in the UK is somehow a paedophile. That's what they're saying. That is the message they are spreading. But, you know, what about when the Church of England scandal came out? Soon after the recent one about the Muslims came out. Was there any talk about that? Was there any talk about, oh, every single follower of, you know, the Anglican Church in the UK is a you know, every single male is a paedophile? No, of course not, because they're white and the Muslims just happen to be a different colour, you know. But, you know, don't, you know, let's not, you know, bring that up. And now we get on to Sargon of Akkad, and I agree with what the article says, but I will give Sargon props that he did say that what happened to Ali was wrong. So I'll give him props for that. But as we go into the article, Sargon of Akkad, part of the growing alt-right, Sargon, whose real name is Carl Benjamin, rose to prominence during Gamergate, an anti-feminist backlash of a section of gamers from which Benjamin developed a representation for opposing anti-misogyny movements, and writers garnished himself under 800,000 YouTube subscribers in the process. He controversially tweeted Labour MP Jess Phillips after she wrote in the Huffington Post that people talking about raping me isn't fun, but has become somewhat par of the course, in which he said he wouldn't even rape her, which drew criticism from many on Twitter. Which, yeah, is a dick thing for him to do. You know, if someone is constantly getting rape threats like Jess Phillips constantly is, you know, she has presented evidence multiple times of this throughout the past couple of years, why the hell would you send her that? You know, that is just encouraging abuse. So then it goes on to the other thing. Oh yeah, and Jess Phillips did write a really good response to this Day of Freedom thing, which I might go into, which is quite interesting. So the Daily Dot claims that Benjamin does not seem to be part of the alt-right movement himself, but he does enjoy attacking alt-right targets like feminism, Islam, Black Lives Matter, and the notion of straight white male privilege. In a YouTube video, he describes Black Lives Matter as a black supremacist movement that is violent and dangerous and wants to kill police officers. This is the kind of rhetoric that empowers black people, or is it the rhetoric of someone who wants to delegitimize the concerns of a movement whose goal is to establish equal rights for black people in the US? And then the article basically concludes with, those are 3 of the supposed proponents of free speech. Yet it is up for debate as to whether they are genuinely seeking to bring about freedoms for all people, no matter their colour, creed or gender or sexuality, or whether it is just for them. And I've said this numerous times. Every one of these idiots, you know, Sargon included, and Tommy Robinson, they're just out in it for themselves. There is no wider goal. That's why I find Sargon trying to go mainstream laughable, because there is so much footage of Sargon on the internet saying and proposing absolutely stupid things that the second he goes into mainstream, he will last seconds. He won't even get his 15 minutes of fame. He'll be shot down before he even begins, because there is just so much footage of him out there just saying stuff that is just unbelievable. Like the fact that he propagated the ridiculous alt-right myth about Heather Heyer, that, oh, she didn't die because of the car being run into her. She died because she had a heart attack, and because of all the, you know, excitement going around her, because she couldn't handle it, and, you know, she fainted and had a heart attack. You know, he propagated that stupid conspiracy, and you know, and that's just not the only thing, you know, he's done. There's a whole litany of, as I've said, videos out there of him doing and just saying stuff. It's ridiculous. So yeah, are these people hypocrites? Yes, absolutely. And for once, the first time in my entire life, and I never thought I'd say this on this channel, but RT has done an actual good article exposing what these people are about. Holy shit, good job, RT.